Environmental groups face enough of a challenge trying to develop public involvement in issues like toxics without facing a language barrier. What can groups do to reach those citizens that don't even speak the same language? Let's go to Brooklyn, New York to find out. America's newest Superfund site, the Gowanus Canal in Brooklyn. Located in an urban multi-ethnic community where aging industry mixes with new gentrification and ethnic enclaves, all along a waterway notorious for its history of industrial waste, chemicals, and noxious sewage leaks. But with the Superfund designation, a new era is dawning on the Gowanus area of Brooklyn, a look to the future rather than the remnants of an industrial past. Two nonprofit organizations, the Fifth Avenue Committee and the Edison Wetlands Association, are leading the way forward for a group of citizens long plagued with environmental injustice. Many of the Latinos in this gritty neighborhood have been disenfranchised, prevented from participating in their community affairs by language and cultural barriers. The groups even arranged for a bilingual translator to utilize a sound system and earpieces to translate the presentation and discussions into Spanish for community members who do not speak English. At a recent environmental justice public meeting, Edison Wetlands Association and Fifth Avenue Committee are working to make community involvement and public participation the highest priority to ensure cleanup is as protective as possible.
We've been involved in other environmental justice issues, particularly around the intersection around housing and health conditions, and now are really expanding that as a result of the work that's going on in the canal. The community very much is knowledgeable that the canal has been contaminated for generations. I think the extent of the contamination and how the contamination has impacted on people's health and their ability to access employment and any number of other things is not necessarily well known.
When you look at the canal itself and you look at the threats that the canal poses, clearly, the site would not be listed as an NPL or Superfund if it wasn't a threat to human health and the environment. The sediments are highly contaminated, the water's contaminated, and there are still ongoing sources of contamination that have yet to be addressed into the canal. One of the cornerstones of Superfund and one of the things that Superfund brings to the table is the ability for the public to give meaningful input. And the key word is meaningful.
We need real community participation in this process, as well as that there's community-based resources that are plugged into the actual cleanup process. So community knowledge, community resources that we're really utilizing.
The Superfund process works much better when the community gets involved. The sites get cleaned up much more thoroughly when the community has a voice